Again, are you constantly spiritually stumbling and falling? Well, this is part 3 and step 2 of a biblically proven method to a fall-proof Christianity as described in 2 Peter 1 and 10. He says, "Wherefore, the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, ye shall never fall." In this series, we will continue examining those things that are spoken of. Are you ready? 2 Peter 1:5. "And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue." The next step, virtue. Faith is our foundation, but what builder lays a foundation and then declares his work finished? Real faith will cry to be manifested in works. We live in a world that has forgotten virtue, that glories in what is shameful. The things that once caused men to blush now entertain them. Scenes and dialogue that would have been rejected by even the lost 50 years ago now fill the screens of professing Christians. We are drowning in filth. Yet Peter tells us, "And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue." Faith is what walks us through the door of salvation. However, we are not called to just stand inside of that door. We are called to walk forward. True faith will lead to virtue or moral excellence, purity, courage, and strength. It is time to preach about modesty again. It is time to live differently, to look differently, to walk in holiness. Many lament the state of this world, how perversion is being normalized, how men no longer know how to be men and women no longer know how to be women. But where did it actually all begin? Not long ago, I was in a discussion about the current transgender issue, and my friend was troubled that men were dressing like women. And I couldn't help but think it's almost comical to be upset about that, when for decades women have been dressing like men. My dad was mocked for preaching against women dressing like men. But was he wrong? Does not Deuteronomy 22 and 5 say, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garments? For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God"? That's a serious statement, folks. But we excused it until we normalized it. We said, those are not men's clothes, they're made for a woman. The word used is that which pertaineth to a man. You see, God demands distinction between men and women, and we have blurred the line. We sowed to the wind, and now we're reaping the whirlwind. And men, we have just as much, if not more, responsibility to the destruction of our moral economy. We have allowed absolute filth into our homes. Seductive, persuasive music didn't originate with rap music. That pervert Conway Twitty made millions off of church attendees with songs like "I'd Love to Lay You Down." We set our little boys and little girls down in front of visual perversion and let Hollywood teach them that premarital sex was okay, that living together prior to marriage is advisable. My greatest regret as a parent is ever buying a television and bringing it into our home. Perversion builds upon perversion until it's normal and acceptable. It may be acceptable to you and me, but it is not acceptable to our God. It is absolutely appalling for anyone to love sin so much that they would be willing to damn their own children to hell rather than forsake their sin. Jesus said that a millstone and the sea would be better for someone like that. Virtue can and must be restored. It's not legalism to preach holiness. It is not old-fashioned to demand purity. It's Scripture. 1 Peter 1:16 says, "Be ye holy, for I am holy." And 1 Timothy 2 and 9, he says, "In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety." In Ephesians 5:11 through 12, he says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret." You must add to your faith virtue or moral strength, integrity, and holiness. If you have faith but no virtue, your testimony is vanity. Your life is compromised, and you are not fall-proof. I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I reflect Christ in my appearance, my speech, my conduct? Have I normalized sin in my life? Have I excused compromise in the name of cultural progress? Faith without virtue is hypocrisy. The world does not need more Christians who believe in God. It needs Christians who live like they belong to God. The time for compromise is over. Add to your faith virtue. It's time to restore holiness.